My name is Maurice Nio, and I work at the office which is called Nio Architecten in Rotterdam. I live and work in Rotterdam, and our studio is a very small studio, not more than 8 architects. We are only with architects. We don't have a secretary or a system computer developer or a director, or we don't have any hierarchy. We are with 8 architects, and for me that's important because everybody has to do more or less the same thing on the same level. So we don't have specialists as if somebody can make only details or only renderings or only the facade, but everybody does exactly the same. And when you ask me what is your design method, I must say that we have a strange kind of method. We don't go from A to B, if you get my drift. We don't go from the question to the answer directly, not from A to B, but we like to investigate what the possibilities are. So we like to investigate what is the space of possibilities, because we see our mind as a space of possibilities. We don't go from A to B, but we go from A, let's say, to F, and then back to A, and then we go to C, to Z, and then back to A, and we ask ourselves. So we go from sometimes from A to Z, or from A to F and back again. We don't know where we end at the moment, at that moment. For me it's important because if you try to get the answer immediately, then you don't get the right solution, because there are so many possibilities, and it's necessary to find the right possibility after investigating all the other ones. I call this the elliptic design method. It's not a direct method, it's just a search. If you know the word elliptic, ellipse, the word ellipse, it has 2 focus points. It has not 1 focus point. I think this is very important, not to have 1 focus point. If you have 1 focus point, you have an ideal circle. And a circle, it doesn't exist. There's nothing really ideally like this. So the circle doesn't exist. It is merely an outcome of a strange form of an ellipse. The ellipse with the 2 focus points is the real thing. Like, I don't know, sometimes a church has an ellipse form, like the Baroque church of Borromini. There's never a circle, because the circle is too perfect, it's too close to you, too, how do you call it, too absolute. Yes, that's the right word. We need more strange forms. I mean, life is all full of strange forms. So the circle is not so good, and a design method based on a circle, on 1 focus point, is also not good. I prefer the elliptical design method. I've been here many times in Italy, and what I found very peculiar is the richness of the history, but this richness seems to appear also a very hard burden, which many Italians carry on their shoulders. In fact, a lot of designers, not only architects, have really a problem with this burden, with this immense richness. I'm talking now slow because it's going to be quiet here. But you must find a method, like the elliptical design method I've talked about, to use history in a new way. Not to see it as a burden, but to see it as an inspiration for new forms, new architecture, new design. So let me give you an example what I did with the burden of history. Somebody showed me the Gypsoteca in Firenze, Porta da Roma, near the center of Florence. There's a beautiful space, Gypsoteca, and there are all the famous statues of the famous artist of Tuscany. For instance, Michelangelo with the Pietà. And I was so inspired by this sculpture that I made another sculpture for this space inspired by Michelangelo. And I made a horse like 3 meters high. It was totally black, shiny black horse, and it was like lying on the ground, and you could sleep in his head. So you could sleep and dream becoming a horse or being transformed into something else. It was like a kind of miracle which had as inspiration the statue of Michelangelo. But it was transformed into something new, in a new sculpture, which fitted really perfectly in the Gypsoteca. The contrast between the other white statues and my black statue, shiny there in the light, in this beautiful light. And I thought, well, this should be the answer of all Italian designers when they see history as a burden. They should not see it as a burden, but as a kind of inspiration, but they should have the nerves to transform it, their emotion, their burden, into something new. And this is just an example, but you can do it on the level of urban planning, on the level of architecture, on the level of painting, which is a little bit more easy, I guess. But on all levels you can work like this. Take it as an inspiration, feel the right and original emotion which is inside the object, whether it's architecture or a sculpture, it doesn't matter, and try to transform it. The statue Pietà, I have to tell you, it is about dolore, about sorrow. So if you get the essence of this emotion and turn it into something new, then you can go on. There's a future.